Now that the first couple weeks of NFL free agency have come and gone, let's talk about some updated round one draft targets for the Pittsburgh Steelers here. Now that a couple of team needs have been addressed in free agency, what are the Steelers going to be looking at in round one at pick number 21? Let's talk about it here on the show. But before we get into the content today, I do want to talk about briefly the quarterbacks that could be up for discussion. If they miss out on Aaron Rodgers, I think a first-round quarterback becomes on the table for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Talk about Jahdae Sanders, Jackson Dart, and Tyler Shuck in a video we put out just a couple of days ago on this channel. So if you guys want to check out my full scouting reports on all the top early round quarterback targets for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Jahdae Sanders, Jackson Dart, and Tyler Shuck. Plus we talk a little bit about Jalen Milroe and Will Howard in that video as well. I'm going to put the link to that in the comments and description of today's show. So make sure you guys check that out. And make sure you guys click that subscribe button as well to never miss a video. If you missed that one, you won't have to miss another one if you click that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. We have daily and free Steelers videos for you guys to enjoy on this channel every single day. So I think that the positions to be watching out for if you're a Steelers fan heading into round one this year is running back, defensive tackle, and slot corner. All right, and we'll be breaking down these positions here one by one, and we'll start with running back, all right, because I get a lot of pushback when I say that running back is a possibility for the Pittsburgh Steelers in round one this year because it's such a good running back class. Jack, we can get a good running back in round 4, in round 5, in round 3, whatever, and that is very, very true. But when you look at what the Steelers want to be as an offense, they need not just a good running back, they need a great running back. They need a star running back in order to run this offense the way that Arthur Smith and Mike Tomlin envision this offense to be played, which is to be a dominant run game that can enforce their will and be a successful run attack on the ground, even when the defense knows it's coming, stacks the box, does all the things to stop the run. Only the best rushing offenses in the league are able to do this, and it really requires two things. Number one, the offensive line needs to be able to move the line of scrimmage consistently, even against the stacked box. All right, you see teams like the Philadelphia Eagles do this consistently. All right, then number two, you need a star-level running back to make explosive plays, big chunks on the ground, but also to wear down an opposing defense. You see this with guys like Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey when he is healthy with the San Francisco 49ers. And, the first part of that requirement, the offensive line, is still very much a big question mark, all right? Broderick Jones moving over from the right side to the left side where he was drafted to play. We'll see how that turns out. Sayamalu and Frazier are absolutely solid, but Mason McCormick struggled last year in his rookie season. Is he going to be able to take a big leap in year two? And then Troy Fautano, the big question on him is, will he be able to stay healthy? He was injured for pretty much the entirety of his rookie campaign last year. But the Steelers like the investment that they have made on that offensive line, and they believe that is the unit that is going to really develop into a really good unit for them, not only for 2025, but for the future. So now the focus that needs to be on their mind right now is, how do they get that star running back? How do they fulfill that second kind of requirement to build the type of rushing offense that they're looking to build this season? And I think that the way you do that is you get a star-level running back. The two guys that I have a round one grade on this year, Ashton Jeanty from Boise State and Omarion Hampton from North Carolina. All right, there's a lot of good running backs that you could get in round 3, round 4, round 5 in this year's draft class, but these are the two guys that I feel very confident can be legitimate star backs in this league from the word go. Ashton Jeanty has some of the best contact balance I've ever seen from a running back. He's a big play machine. And then Omarion Hampton brings size to the table, great vision, just one of the more well-rounded players in this entire draft class at the running back position. And, I think that those are the two guys that I would be honing in on. If I can't get Ashton Jeanty or if I can't get Omarion Hampton, I think the value then shifts to day 2, whether that's trading down and getting an additional draft pick in either round 2 or round 3 and then taking the running back there, or whether it's taking a player like a defensive tackle in round 1 and then taking a running back in round 3. I think if it's not Jeanty and if it's not Hampton, I would not take Travion Henderson. I would not take Quinshon Judkins. I would not take Cam Scatabo in the first round. I think I'd rather go in a different direction and in another position if you're not able to get the true blue chips in this class in Ashton Jeanty and Omarion Hampton. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comment section. Would you be happy if they ended up getting Omarion Hampton in round 1? I think it's a legitimate possibility that Hampton is a Steeler this year and he makes it to their pick at number 21 overall. So let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. Yes or no? Would you be happy if Omarion Hampton is the new number 1 running back here in Pittsburgh and they have to spend their first-round pick in order to bring him here? This will be the pinned comment on today's show. In just a second here, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor today at Fanatics. And while I'm talking about Fanatics, give me a yes or a no down there in the comments. And with that, let's have a word from our sponsor today at Fanatics. You guys can go to chatsports.com/DK to get your very own DK Metcalf Steelers jersey officially licensed from our friends at Fanatics today. And the best part is, guys, you get this jersey and you use our link, chatsports.com/DK. It helps us out here at Steelers Talk because we get a part of the proceeds every time someone clicks that link and somebody makes a purchase. All right, so we really do appreciate all of your guys' support. That money goes to us directly to help us keep the lights on and help keep this content free for all of you guys to enjoy. So go to chatsports.com/DK if you're already planning on getting a DK Metcalf Steelers jersey to help out the channel today. All right, so now let's talk about defensive tackle because this is one that's very popular among Steelers fans and for good reason. The Steelers still need a bona fide starter along the defensive line because they didn't get one in NFL free agency. They brought in some nice pieces to be rotation guys in this rotation. Guys like Aquale and Isaiah Loudermilk. You know, those guys are fine. Those guys are going to be really good pieces in this rotation. Montravius Adams is a really good rotational nose tackle. But they still need that third piece to accompany Keanu Benton and Cam Hayward moving forward. Because I like Montravius. He's a decent rotational piece and a good backup nose tackle. But he's been the starting nose tackle of this team before, and it hasn't been good enough. All right, so I think that the team needs to get another true starter that can play right away with this group. And in round 1, those 4 guys are right here. And you know, Mason Graham, I didn't include him because he's going to probably go top 10. No chance the Steelers can get Mason Graham. But Kenneth Grant, the nose tackle out of Michigan, Derrick Harmon, the 3 technique out of Oregon, Walter Nolan, the interior lineman out of Ole Miss, and then Darius Alexander, the versatile DT out of Toledo, are 4 guys that I think could absolutely fit with what the Pittsburgh Steelers are looking for right now. I think Darius Alexander is probably more of a trade down type of guy. Like if the Steelers trade down and then Harmon and Nolan and Grant are all off the board, then Alexander might come into play. He's a very, very good player. He's a Sperry psycho for a reason this season. But guys like Derrick Harmon, who compares his game to Cam Hayward, Kenneth Grant, who's a 340-pound nose tackle that can absolutely move, Walter Nolan, who could fill Larry Ogunjobi's spot at 5 technique, even though he's a little bit undersized. He's got violent hands and is super explosive and has a great motor. You know, all 4 of these guys I think would be excellent additions for the Steelers. And if any of these guys end up being the Steelers' first-round pick, you know you're getting a good player. So now let's shift over to slot cornerback because this is another position that I get some pushback from some Steelers fans here because 2 of my 3 mock drafts or 2 of my 4 mock drafts to this point, I have taken a guy to fill the slot cornerback spot in round 1, all right? So the reasoning for this is Pittsburgh hasn't signed a true slot corner in free agency yet, and a good one can completely change your defense. Just look at the way Cooper DeJean completely changed, or at least helped completely change the Eagles' defense in 2024, helping them become one of the best defenses in the National Football League. Look at the way that Brian Branch, as a versatile chess piece on defense, has allowed the Detroit Lions defense to get so much better. Look at the way Kyle Hamilton has been allowed to completely change the Baltimore Ravens defense with his versatility. All right, so if the Steelers can get somebody to play the slot that can be a disguise piece, that can be a versatile chess piece weapon, that could be something that completely changes the way that the Steelers play defense. And these 3 players right here could certainly fit that bill. Jahdae Barron out of Texas, if he makes it to number 21, reminds me a lot of Trent McDuffie, all right? That can play the slot, can play outside, very versatile, and plays with phenomenal instinct. Same thing with Malachi Starks, who is a safety slot cornerback hybrid, but he plays with similar instincts, has great ball skills, phenomenal zone eyes. I think that he's exactly the type of player Mike Tomlin loves. And Nicky Manwari is somebody to keep your eye on. The Steelers have been monitoring him quite heavily, especially at his pro day this year. And he is big, he can play in the slot, and he's very fast. He had a perfect 10 out of 10 relative athletic score this year. I wouldn't be as high on Emanwari because I don't think his film is that polished, especially in the slot. But Malachi Starks and Jahdae Barron are 2 names Steelers fans should absolutely be keeping their eye on in round 1. And then the wild card position here is wide receiver, because if the Steelers do end up trading George Pickens, once again, wide receiver becomes a big-time need for this football team because they need somebody to pair with DK Metcalf in this wide receiver room. There's going to be wide receivers available at number 21, guys. Like Tedorora McMillan, a lot of people have McMillan falling down their draft boards. He's certainly gettable if the Steelers want to trade up for a wide receiver this year. Matthew Golden out of Texas probably won't be available. He's probably another guy you would have to trade up for in the teens. But Luther Burden III has been falling out of the first round entirely in many mock drafts. He's certainly going to be gettable at 21. Same thing goes for Emeka Egbuka out of Ohio State. Jaden Higgins, who's an excellent big receiver with really good route running chops out of Iowa State. And then Alec Amainer, very physical, big wide receiver out of Stanford, who also ran a 4.4 40 at his size, which is crazy good. So who's your guy? Let me know down there in the comments section. Who do you want the Pittsburgh Steelers to draft in round 1 this year? We talked about all the top targets on today's show, so make sure you let me know who you guys want down there in the comments section. Click that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're giving you guys extensive Steelers draft coverage on this channel every single day, 100% free. So to join the largest individually run Steelers news channel anywhere on YouTube, go ahead and click that subscribe button, 100% free right now.